Good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Allen, and I'm joined by my usual broadcast partner, former NHL defenseman Tom Laidlaw, who played 11 seasons for the New York Rangers and Los Angeles Kings. This is the Laidlaw and Allen Report. Come to you twice a week to talk all things hockey, and today we're going to have the expansion draft tonight. And Tom, you never went through an expansion draft process.
No, that's right. We had 21 teams back when I played. Yeah, it's funny thing about that. That was 32. Yeah.
And 21 was enough for you guys.
Yeah,
you didn't want any more, and just wow, how far the game has come.
Well, I know, and little things like we used to argue whether we should have salary disclosure. Thinking back about the whole money issue and how the league has grown and how the revenues have grown for the league. It's funny now thinking about that. That's to me one of the biggest issues. The reason salaries have gone up. We didn't really want to know what each was made. It was funny. We had Alan Eagleson back then. He would come in the locker room and tell us that, we shouldn't be knowing what it's going to hurt hockey if we salaries go up too far. And I see the game now where the money is. And so it has changed.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's, like in general, I've always been kind of pro player when it comes to the money. I mean, they are the game.
Yeah.
But saying all that, like, I do think the salary cap, I don't feel that it's hurt salaries too much. Like, I bet the top guys probably aren't getting as much as they would normally.
Right.
Because a guy like Connor McDavid probably would be $15 million.
Yeah, but he's not far off, right? Isn't his salary like 14 or something? Or he dropped it down a little bit. He took a little bit less. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys that are at 10, 11 would probably be 15.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing we'd have here is, the Rangers, the Maple Leafs,
Colorado, great.
Yeah, all the top teams with, the biggest amount of money. Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas is the number one revenue producer in terms of, selling seats and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So, they'd be out there, and they'd probably, their payrolls would probably be 100 million.
Yeah.
I'm not counting COVID. So, they'd be over 100 million. But the problem is, would we even have some of the smaller markets? Would Columbus, Carolina, and somebody argued that wouldn't be a horrible thing, but I like it the way it is. I mean, I don't feel like I've yet to meet a player who said, this system, we should reduce the number of teams, and I don't think they mind it. I mean, they're accepting of this kind of system is the way I sort of view it, and they like the fact there's 32 teams and so forth. So. Anyway. But I wanted to start this show off. I told you this with a little twinkle in my eye, trying to have a little fun, is that I've made my decision about Carey Price.
A little drum roll going on here.
Drum roll, and I've gone back and forth on this, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm so, on one hand, I could see like the excitement of being able to bring in a guy like Carey Price, just like Marc-Andre Fleury, went to Vegas. What a difference it made. To have that guy, and you've talked before about the confidence it gives you. Yeah. But what finally came down for me was, and it was almost like a light bulb went on, of Carey Price's contract, the Seattle's being excited about, they're going to get the worst 5 years of his contract. The worst 5. The last 5, he's going to go from age 34 to 39. And it's going to be 10.5 million and 40 some million in real money that's going out the door. And you just don't have any idea what that means for you. Like, we don't know how good this Kraken team is going to be. We can't say, look at our list of prospects and say, hey, look, in a few more years, this team's really going to be good. We just don't know. We just don't have any idea. And then I thought,
but I'm gonna argue with you a little bit on that point. Sorry to interrupt you, but sure, you'll know, right? You're picking the players, right? You're picking the players. The players. These players that are going to pick now, they have a track record. So I'm going to say, yeah, sure, you know who.
No, but that really isn't true, Tom, because you have no farm system. When you make a decision on a free agent, normally, you're looking not only at your current roster, but you're looking and saying, hey, if you're in Detroit now, you're saying, I got Mo Sider coming in. next year, and I got Lucas Raymond coming in. I've got all these younger players that are coming in, and you can't say that if you're Seattle. So they just have a little less information. Is all my point is.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Than teams, normally have, and for that. And the other thing is, I was looking at all like the different players that were available, for them to think, and I said, for $10.5 million, there's 3 players they could take that are in that amount of money, and would those 3 players be, more effective than he would. So I've decided not to take him. Now, okay. Ron Francis may be going in a different way, and it sounds like you would go in a different way.
Yeah, I would not, but I went back and forth like you did too. But I've now decided that you have to take him. I'm thinking if I'm Ron Francis, I don't take Carey Price, and then they go into the season and their goaltending isn't good enough. Everybody's saying, well, why didn't you take Carey Price? Right. Yeah. And it's a proven commodity. Yes, I hear you with the money and the length and his age and all that kind of stuff, but I just feel like, man, that's a given. Okay, we've got him in net. He's going to play 60 games a year, whatever it is, 50 games a year. We know what we've got in net. Now the rest of the team will have to figure out what's going on with them, right? Yeah.
No. I mean, and I don't fault anybody for taking him because there's a lure there. I mean, we like what Fleury did for Vegas, and Carey Price is better than Fleury was when he showed up. Totally. Just in terms of having.
And I know Fleury really played well in the latter part of the first season there, but the first part of the season he didn't play. Remember, he missed like the first 20 or 25 games or something too. So, I guess I'm kind of going against myself with Price. But so.
Yeah, but I think it's like I said before. I think you can't. You wouldn't. You're glad to have that opportunity to get Carey Price, but it also causes a lot of angst.
Definitely.
Trying to decide, what to do because it's not an easy decision. So, but if they take him, boy, it sure will be exciting. And imagine the roar, like everybody's tuning in tonight. They're watching that, and you're in Seattle, your first hockey team. You don't have pro teams in Seattle. They're not in the. They've got a base. They got. You don't have a hockey team or a basketball team, so. You're really excited about that, and now you're rounding out. You've got a baseball team and a football team. Now you're getting your hockey team, and all of a sudden they say you get Carey Price, one of the great goalies in the game. It'll be quite a roar.
Good. Yeah, and Giordano he'll get. I'm assuming I would pick him as well if I'm going to pick Carey Price. Then I might as well pick Giordano as well. So,
yeah, the one player that I'm going to take that no one else seems to agree with me on. I'm taking Tarasenko, and my thought process on this is this. I'm going to keep a little bit of his salary, and then I'm going to trade him. Yeah. If he's $5 million, I think you'll be able to get more for him than taking, say, Vince Dunn, the defenseman from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like I think if you got a $5 million Tarasenko, and some people are talking about his shoulder, but in today's world, with the medical knowledge that we have, like you'll have a pretty good handle on whether or not you should be worried about his shoulder.
Totally. But I like Dunn though too. Dunn's a good defenseman, two-way defenseman. He's pretty good.
I like him too, but I just think you could get more.
Yeah.
Don't you think you get a first-round pick? If you,
I think so, yeah, and that's what Vegas did. Remember, James Neal, the Vegas had too. They thought they were going to trade him, but the team was playing too well, so they kept him, right?
Right. So I don't know. I would take him, but I don't fault Seattle if they want to take Dunn because I went back and forth on that. I like Dunn. So
the surprising one that I saw some people predicting that Johansen from Nashville is going to get picked.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I do too. Although, you know what, though? He's an intriguing player, has a big contract and everything. That certainly hasn't played well the last couple of years. But you say to yourself, man, if he plays well, if he can play the way he should play, then we've got a heck of a player there. But
and there aren't a lot of centers.
Yeah.
You look at that list, like I'm projecting, Gord would be their second. Like I don't even have them with a number one center.
Right.
They've got Gord, I think, would be a number 2. I think they'll take Kerfoot as their number 3 center.
Who signed with the Rangers? Wasn't it Gord that signed with the Rangers, or who signed from Tampa?
No, it's Goodrow.
Goodrow. What am I thinking? Yes, okay.
Yep. Yeah. He hasn't signed yet, though, right?
Correct. He has not signed yet. No.
Yeah. Right.
We did see the signing, Adam Larson signing with the Kraken, right? From Edmonton.
I am really stunned by that too. Yeah, you delivered that news to me. I haven't been on the web this morning, and I'm not surprised that he would go and play there. But he's going for, according to you, at $4 million per over a 4-year deal.
Yeah, I know that's not much. He's a good defenseman too. Wow.
Yeah, I thought.
Kenny Hall was quoted as saying that he had a similar contract on the table for him, but that Larson decided he wanted to leave. So.
Yeah, that is a horrendous blow.
Yeah.
For the Oilers and for Larson's a hitter. He's a defensive minded guy. I like a lot about him. He blocks shots.
Yeah. For Edmonton too, they had traded Taylor Hall for him. So Taylor Hall was the first overall pick in the draft. Traded him to New Jersey for Larson. Now Larson's gone. So the first overall pick in the draft, Adam Larson, they got nothing for him.
Right. Yeah.
That stings.
Yeah, that is a very tough. Yeah, but I like that from Seattle. Already I like their team. Well,
that kind of says something about the players' desire to go play there, right? It looks like it's going to be a great place to play, so free agents are going to want to go there. So, yeah.
Well, I'm sure if you're Adam Larson, you're saying, man, they got a great team. They got me.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Definitely.
So
we got a good question here by Ron Jameson, one of our loyal listeners. What does a trade freeze means? It means during this period of time, there could be no trades. I don't know, is it a 48-hour window, or I can't remember?
No, it went all the way from last Saturday until tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
7 a.m.
At
7 a.m. we can start moving Tarasenko.
Okay.
And all the rest of those players. So
okay. Okay, good.
By the way,
so now are you thinking with Tarasenko that they should take him now and trade him right away?
If they can, yeah. I mean, if Lou Lamoriello really wants him, now it's time to make a deal. I don't actually think they're going to take him.
Huh. That's interesting, though.
I said that's what I would do, but Dunn's a good player now, especially when you already got Larson. So now you're starting to build a defense. Yeah. And these aren't ancient Mariners. You know what I mean? These are not older players.
Yeah.
So these are guys that are younger players, and that's the making of a pretty good defense. Like, say you took Dunn, and let's say you took Jake Bean from Carolina. Now you got 3 defensemen who are in the primes of their careers, not older folks like Giordano. Yeah, you bring him in. All right, let's play that game. So you're Seattle, and you take Giordano, Jake Bean, Dunn, and you sign Adam Larson.
Mm-hmm.
I like the start of that defense.
Yeah, totally. So what if a player like Dougie Hamilton is an unrestricted free agent? Can they sign him after the expansion draft?
Yeah, they can sign him anytime. So as soon as right now they're in their early signing period, but after that, then they just get in the normal one. So.
Yeah. So here's some of the in the NHL. They made some prediction. They're saying that the 4 goalies that the Kraken are going to take are Dustin Tokarski from Buffalo, Malcolm Subban from Chicago, Capo Kapanen from Minnesota, and Braden Holtby from Vancouver.
Yeah, they don't think they're going to take Vitek, the Washington goalie. What's his last name? Very
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here's the list they've got of forwards: Kristen Fisher from Arizona, Jonas Donskoy from Colorado, Blake Como from Dallas, Devin Shore from Edmonton. Well, that can't happen now because Larson signed, right? So that's the only guy they can lose. Frank Vatrano from Florida, Austin Wagner from Los Angeles, Ryan Johansen from Nashville, Nathan Bastian from New Jersey, Josh Bailey from the Islanders, Colin Blackwell from the Rangers, Evgeny Dadonov from Ottawa, Brandon Tanev from Pittsburgh, Dylan Gambrell from San Jose, Yanni Gord from Tampa, and Alexander Kerfoot from Toronto, and Mason Appleton from Winnipeg. That's their list of forwards.
Yeah.
Well, you know who I like too? That there's that Brandon Dillon from Washington. I like him as a player. They're predicting he gets taken too. So
well, you had him do it. That's why they're not taking the goalie. because I like the goal.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, very cool. Hey, before I forget to, we touched on that coach from Chicago that is coaching, had gone up to Michigan Tech and was coaching that abused the kids, spending time in prison. There's an article now at TSN that he now is living in Calumet, Michigan, and he's got a glass etching company, and he's hiring all these interns from Northern Michigan, Michigan State, all these places. So there's like, they quoted a doctor. Obviously, he's a pedophile. And she was some of the statistics. She wasn't as concerned as maybe I thought she should have been with him being around the age of kids that he abused in the past. So interesting.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, once you're identified and once you're convicted of that, then you have to register as a sex offender.
Yeah. Totally.
People in the area should be aware.
Yeah.
Of who he is. But
all right, here's a good question. And we're going to debate this a little bit. Who is the most Tom Laidlaw-like player in today's NHL?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
Let's think about that. Well, what do you think about a guy you just mentioned, in Dillon?
Yes, Brandon Dillon for Washington Capitals. That'd be it. Big guy, play the body, move the puck up quick. Yeah.
I don't know about that part.
move the puck up quick. Yeah, well, I mean by passing it, not by skating it. Like Herb Brooks famously said, Laidlaw, when you get the puck, give it to somebody else. You're not supposed to have it.
Yeah, mistakes been made. Yeah. No, that's a great question. Yeah. I keep waiting for that. I read Kyle Woodleaf does Redline Reports. He's a friend of mine, and he used to be a scout years ago for Nashville Predators. He has now an independent scouting review, and he always uses comparisons in his final draft guide. And for years, I've gone through there, and I'm always looking for someone that's compared to my buddy Tom Laidlaw. But you're never in there. You were such a unique specimen.
Yes, that's what it is. Unique.
That no one has come along. That's the thing. They were talking about this year. There's two goalies in the first round. There's Jesper Wallstedt, who is the Swedish star who, at 18 was playing in the Swedish Elite League. He's said to be on par with Spencer Knight, who's with the Florida Panthers, or Yaroslav Askarov, who was drafted last year by the Nashville Predators. He's one of those elite goalies. And then there's a second goalie that will go into the first round as well, named Sebastian Cossa, who played for the Edmonton Oil Kings out in the Western Hockey League. And I was reading the Redline Report about him, and his comparison is Devin Dubnyk. Now, if I'm Cossa, how do I feel about that? Would you be happy to be compared to?
No disrespect.
I mean, he's an NHL goalie, and he's had a lengthy career.
Yeah, but no disrespect to Dubnyk, but I wouldn't put him as one of the top goaltenders. I would put him certainly the top 20 in the league in my mind, right? So,
yeah. Well, that's one of the problems with comparisons. Like, because I agree with you. Like, I even debated bringing this up because it feels like it was slight to Dubnyk, and I guess it is. But mostly I'm just thinking about here you are, you're trying to make it along, and you probably see yourself as an elite goalie, and they're comparing you to a guy who, just as you said, and again, I don't want to diminish his career. He's lasted a long time. He had a lot of money, won a lot of games. He's still playing effectively. Totally. All of that. But when I saw that, I just thought, I wonder how that kid feels about that.
Yeah. A little fuel for the fire, right? A little fuel on the fire. That's
So, But
Kev, here's one of our fans down in Nashville. This is an interesting take on thing. I live in Nashville. This town feels like it's in mourning. First Pekka retires, then Ellis gets shipped off. If they lose Johansen, these people will throw themselves in the Cumberland River. Wow.
I didn't know there was a love for Johansen. Johansen hasn't really produced. They gave up Seth Jones to get him, and he hasn't played at that level. But I think, unlike Duchesne, I think if you said to the coaches and the management people in Nashville, who's the one contract you would just love to get rid of?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Johansen. It would be Matt Duchene.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I've said this before. Even when Johansen isn't scoring, and he really has never scored with Nashville like you should for a top number one center, he still has some value because he can play well defensively. He does in big games. I think his level of commitment isn't as strong as it should be for 82 games of the regular season. But I think he does have value. Like if he was your number 3 center, you'd be thrilled to have him.
Yeah.
At number 2, maybe, but number 1, no.
No.
So
I'm going to predict that they're going to take him. You don't think they'll take him, right?
Well, it's just so much money. It's $8 million.
Yeah.
And then he's untradeable.
Yeah.
Not without retaining salary. Now, what's interesting of that is if you look at his buyout according to Cap Friendly. By the way, where would we be without capfriendly.com?
I know, yeah.
What a great website.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt that, but this Ron Jameson, he's an intelligent man. Okay, so I've got to.
Thank you, Ron. I love that.
Do you mean John Potvin, his brother, or are you talking about Dennis?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I bet when you went to, just like in Rangerville, they chant Potvin sucks. When you went to the Islanders, did they yell Laidlaw sucks?
No, the Rangers fans yelled that. What are you talking about? The Ranger fans yelled that.
That's great. That's great. But what was the point we were just making about
Cap Friendly? You're talking about Cap Friendly.
Cap Friendly just does a tremendous job.
Yeah.
But if you go to Cap Friendly and look at his buyout, he being Johansen, it's like there's 4 years left on his deal. It would be actually $2.67 million, but it's twice as long, so it would be over 8 years.
Yeah.
But that's not as onerous as some of them that you see. The buyouts. So, and once you got down to like 2 years on that, then 2.67. I'm just, again, I think back to those prison movies when I was a kid that we would watch with Jimmy Cagney in them, and they'd be talking about doing a 5-year stretch of time, and Cagney would say, I can do 5 years standing on my head. Well, if you're a team, you can do 2.67 million without a problem. I can make that work. So anyway, so you think Johansen? I actually hope you're right for the sake of the Predators. I have kind of a soft spot in my heart for the Predators. I really like David Poile, and I know their president Sean Henry, their vice president Jerry Helper. I know him well, and I love going down to Nashville. It's just one of my favorite.
It is. Yeah, you want them to have a good team. Yeah, you want them to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan, see. I tell everybody number 2 is retired. Good job, Susan. You're right. Number 2, that's my number, is retired.
Yeah, for sure. Good old Susan. I love Susan. She's a very positive person. And,
yes, she is. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, her glass is half full, and I actually like people like that.
Yeah.
So,
excellent. Yeah. Hey, real quick before we run out of time here too, that story, Luke Procop, the draft pick of Nashville, 3rd round draft pick, coming out as announcing that he's gay. I thought, one of the things I liked about that the most was that there was a reaction. It was a story, but it wasn't that big of a story, right? It was just that, okay, that's cool. Yeah. And I like that.
I agree. I wrote that story, and some of the people said, why is this news? And I said, well, it is news because we've never had one, but I appreciate the fact that you think it shouldn't be news.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because really, you want to get to the point where it isn't news. Like, who the heck cares?
Definitely. Imagine some other young person out there right now that hasn't told anybody they're gay, and then they see that, whether it's hockey world or not, and they say, wow, that wasn't that big of a deal. Right? So,
yeah. No, it really was. And a lot of players came out immediately. Yeah. Right after the news came out, I saw Mitch Marner, posted on Facebook, Jason Zucker, posted on Facebook. Tyler Sagan posted on Facebook. There was just a whole host of players that just go boom, 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 just saying, "Hey, we're with you. We're rooting for you. Terrific." We're moving on. And just as you said, and I think this is a real great point. It really wasn't that big a deal to anybody. It was like, yeah, this is good, and we're glad you're doing it because just as you pointed out, Tom, it may help other young people who will feel comfortable now, and they can live their lives. Now we move on. But I was on another podcast on that day, and it never even came up. And I thought, should I bring it up? And I made the decision not to, because even though it was something I wrote about and I thought it was newsy, the fact that nobody saw it as because you do, it's like Brian Burke was quoted in the story as saying, he just advised them, don't worry about the crazies on Twitter who will give you a hard time. Just ignore them, and there will always be someone. So, but it doesn't matter what you do.
Absolutely, yes. No kidding. How about the story out of Sweden where the kid that was eligible for the draft had committed a crime? I think it was a sex crime or something, and then he withdrew from the draft.
Renounce is the word. Yeah,
but he really can't renounce from the draft. A team can still draft him if they want to. They don't control that. The player doesn't control that. So,
no, I guess not. But
like if he's good enough player. Like if Connor McDavid the year he was going to draft it said, I don't want to get drafted.
Let's explore this a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but if you're a general manager and a kid said, hey, my life's screwed up right now, and I really need to do something about him. I mean, how would you feel like drafting him and, knowing that he feels that way and that, he wants to try to get his life together? Like I would feel so bad. I wouldn't want to do that. Let him get his life together.
Or you could say, we want to get him into our system and help him. We believe that this player is a good player. We like the fact that he's taken charge of his life. He wants to fix himself. So we want to help him. We believe that he's good and he's a good person for the way he's handling things. And we feel like we can help him do it. Right.
Well, I think you're going to say that, but what you really want is him as a player.
Yes. No question. Yeah. If you're going to take him, then you believe that he can be an NHL player. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. But, what the heck? We talk a lot about cancel culture. He's canceled himself, just for this deal. And, you appreciate that he's taking responsibility for his actions.
Yeah.
He's not just saying, hey, standing up there and saying, draft me. I'm figuring it out. I'm going to, I'm still the same guy,
Yeah. I mean, listen, I admire him that he's taking responsibility. It's just kind of, it just strikes me as kind of odd, though, that a player would do that. I guess, is he being advised to do that? Does he really believe? Like this, to me, and again, I'm not being critical of him. If that's what he wants to do, he should do it. it feels odd to me. Like, how does that help you with your life?
Like, I don't know anything about the circumstances of that, but it feels to me that there's logic to what he's doing.
Really?
If you have a criminal charge, if you've been involved in allegedly a sexual assault, and you say, hey, look, the pressures of now worrying about whether I'm going to be a hockey, let's say this, but that's me reading between the lines here. Might be too much for me now. Let me try to get my life together, and then we'll revisit this next year.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's an 18-year-old player. Yeah, I mean, but the draft really is just a draft. You just now belong to an organization. You really don't have to do anything other than continue to play hockey, right? I mean, he's got, most players go back and play another 2-3 years before they even attempt to come to the National Hockey League. And again, listen, I'm all for it. That's what
you're getting messages from the team about training and diet and nutrition and stuff, and you get your visit. There's the rookie camps that you go to.
But again, you don't have to go to those rookie camps. Like a player is not
to, but do you feel an obligation?
Yeah.
How many players that are associated with a team don't go to those camps?
Well, yeah, because there's the pressure to go, right? You want to get in there
Yeah.
and prove to the team that you're. But in this case, I can listen again. If he wants to do it, he wants to do it. I just don't see how it helps him that much. If you just go ahead and get drafted if you don't feel like you're ready to go to a rookie camp, then I think the team would understand to say, listen, and in their meetings and everything, you can even say it to him prior to the draft. Say, listen, guys, I did something bad here, and I need to get myself fixed. Just so you're aware of that, so the team knows. But to pull out of the draft, and again, you can't technically pull out of the draft, anyways. But hey, if he feels like that's what's best for him, then if he's taking responsibility for his life, then I think that's good too. So,
well, and what I think supports your position, from what I read, he is planning to go play back in the OHL.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So really, I don't know what changes, right? Just the process to get drafted, he skips out on, but that's just call.
Yeah. No, I guess so. Yeah. Well, all these issues are complicated. I was struck yesterday. I watched the space launch of Jeff Bezos, the Amazon king. I don't know if you're a space guy, but I grew up in that era, so it was important to me. The space race and Mercury 7 astronauts and all that. And I think it's interesting. Like they were just saying, they had an analyst on there who was a astrophysicist, and he said, unlike the dinosaurs, we know that we're going to become extinct. It's just a matter of when. Our planet is living, and then it will die. At some point. So it may not be for a million years. So we know that. So we actually have to start now to prepare to get off the planet and go elsewhere. And so the sooner we start that, the better. So each thing we do on this makes sense. And I thought, wow, like that's a very logical approach to this. And he just said he thinks in the next 100 years we'll have a colony on, or at least a way station. Like the moon will be a gas station, and then we'll have Mars that we'll be settling on and all that stuff. Right. So, that is the backdrop. And then I read on Twitter, and all these people are so critical of Jeff Bezos he doesn't treat his employees well enough. He has driven the bookstores out of business with the way he handles, the books. And, I'm sure depending on whether or not your ox is getting gored, that these are all legitimate complaints. If you're working for Amazon and, some people felt he didn't protect his people from COVID enough, I mean, that's not as important to me. It's just the issue is, it's hard in today's world, unless you're a saint, to do something without having some measure of criticism, attached to it, no matter what you're doing,
Hey, let's go back to outer space for a second. You intrigued me here. Do you believe in UFOs?
Well, I think there's something to them. So, yeah, I mean,
so we can't be the only living or planet that has living people on it, right?
That I would suggest that, but I mean, I don't know what's out there, or whether it's just microorganisms that haven't evolved yet. Maybe we're the most evolved.
Right. That Ron Drescher, he's an incredible human being.
St. Tom.
Yeah, St. Tom. Yeah.
Good to hear from Ron. Ron, I'm glad to hear you're doing well. So,
getting better all the time, Mr. Healthy.
Yep.
Health and fitness.
Yeah, speaking of that, we're getting near the end of the show, so we'll change over to cooking. So I mentioned to my wife about your smoothie on Sunday, and about how I tune in on Sunday to get your symmetrical corn all stacked up, or salmon, or what you got going on, and I look forward to your Sunday meal. This Sunday meal, in the 60s when we were growing up, in the neighborhood, it was customary that everybody had a Sunday dinner.
Exactly.
Like everybody's tradition was different, but in some houses they always had chicken, or
ours was spaghetti. We had spaghetti and meat sauce. Yeah, spaghetti and meat sauce. Yeah.
Yes, the Sunday dinner was always, it was the one time when nobody was out. They didn't have a game and they weren't running around. It was like, and then I know the family that I used to hang out with, my best friend's family, they just cooked chicken. The mother would buy like 3 or 4 whole chickens. They were a large Catholic family with a lot of kids. and she would just bake all this chicken, and that's what the meal would be. It was just the chicken.
Right.
You could go in and get 2 legs, and there'd be an NFL game on, and you'd you eat your chicken and all that that kind of stuff. So I look at your Sunday meal in that regard. What's your Sunday dinner going to be?
Yeah.
And I tell my wife that I tuned in to see what Tom's Sunday dinner was, and it looked like one of your smoothies. And then she was really intrigued because she makes those ones that she tries to get me to, and they're green and they're there's always jalapenos in them, which I just don't understand why you would make a drink with a jalapeno in it. But and then I told her that I said I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but it was some kind of seaweed like substance.
Sea moss.
Yeah, sea moss. And all of a sudden she goes, well, I'm gonna have to look that up yet. So I expect that we have all 5 grandkids, so it's hard for her to get a free minute. But I suspect we're going to get a review of your smoothie, and I wouldn't be shocked if she tries to put it together.
I like that. Good. I can. She's got to go to Marcy the Trainer. That's an online site. We can get the sea moss. Right from Belize. Right from Belize.
Right from Belize. It comes. Yeah. It comes right, and it's probably delivered by Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
I don't know if it is. Maybe it is. Yeah.
So in buying your seaweed, you're helping.
Sea moss.
I like calling it seaweed. By buying your seaweed, and I eat sushi, so I get seaweed now and then.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Do you do
tremendous health benefits? Oh, good.
Yeah. Do you eat sushi?
Yes, I love sushi. Yes.
Yeah. Now, do you eat? Are you just a American sushi eater where you eat California rolls and stuff, or do you get the more exotic where you eat the?
I do stretch out sometimes outside the comfort zone and get some of the more exotic stuff. Yeah, but I do like the what is it? The sashimi with just the rice and the say the salmon. What is that? Is that sashimi?
I don't know what it's called, but I get that as well. Yeah. But I like that. You got to find a good place for it. And in Japan, and not that I'm know a lot about Japan, but I've been there. For probably a total of 7 or 8 weeks in my life. And the best sushi I found is you get it at the department store, like big department stores in downtown in Tokyo. They have an entire floor devoted to sushi.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
It's huge. I mean, it would be like, and we don't even have, it would be like Macy's, have a Macy's, but like on the 7th floor, there'd be sushi, and there'd be just sushi everywhere.
Well, okay, here's a good question. And what is your favorite heritage food? So it's like Chinese, Italian, what is yours?
Boy, I really like them all. I'm going to give the answer that, and it's not very popular in my family whatsoever. So I rarely get to go. I love German food. And we have a really good German restaurant here, but we go about once every 4 years because even when my wife was a meat eater, she was not a big German food person. So I do like that. And also in Michigan here, we have, at one point it was a very large Polish area of Hamtramck. It's a little smaller now, but so we can get some tremendous Polish food here. So I do like Polish and German, but I love Italian too. I love Chinese. I like Thai.
That's a good question. I don't mind this. I guess
I would say Mexican too. My wife's a big Mexican fan.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. I guess my favorite food. I love the turkey dinners. So that's a U.S. dinner though. That's not a.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Getting hungry now. Thinking of my homemade gravy and everything. Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
So actually, I kind of glossed over something here. So the great and talented and lovely Mrs. Terry Allen is actually intrigued by something I cooked that is some new. Like she knows just about everything.
Yeah, very much. She wanted, she goes, I'm going to have to go look at that because, that's right up her alley, smoothies. And, she likes those kinds of things. And I don't think she liked the calorie count because, you're doing weightlifting and you're, what do you burn? 4,500 a day, something like that.
Good call. Very cool. Yeah. About 4,500 calories. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, well, my wife's not burning 45, so
No, that's true. Yeah, and it is at a 500. It's a 500 calorie, over 500 calorie smoothie too.
I just were invaded by 2 of my
Yeah.
5 grandkids and
Let's
2
see 'em.
dogs.
Let's see them.
They can't. They just went the other way.
Oh, okay, all right.
So they just blew through and blew out. So,
I heard that.
the thunder and herd. And
Yeah,
I saw my pit bull, and she's tough. My pit bull's tough.
Yeah.
This morning, they were popping balloons and punching them, making a loud noise. And my pit bull got so concerned that she went in the corner and backed in because she just didn't like this whole balloon thing.
Okay.
It was her first experience with a balloon, and she didn't understand it. And I said to my wife, "Do you notice anything?" I said, "My pit bull." I said, "She's scared right now." And I looked in the corner there. She was scared by what was going on with these 5 kids. And normally she's a sweetie with the kids, but she did not like what they were doing with the balloons. So
that's funny. Very good.
Anyway, we have overstayed our welcome probably, but we appreciate you tuning in on the Laidlaw and Allen Report. And if you want to catch my writing, I'm at hockeybuzz.com and also DetroitHockeyNow.com.
And again, you can listen to the radio version of this show on 365 Sports at radio.co. Again, it's radio.co at 365 Sports. We'll see everybody next week.